Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. Of course, taped live at the twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. So, of course, this coming weekend, we've got Extreme Rules. Last night's Raw was the go-home Raw to Extreme Rules with what seemed to be some clues, perhaps, not just from the White Rabbit, but also in terms of maybe what to expect at Extreme Rules. There was a contract signing between Bayley, Bianca Belair. We're going to dive into the details of that. I thought it was pretty solid. But first, before we get into last night's Raw, Larson, more backstage drama over there at All Elite Wrestling. Just another day, another backstage beef in AEW. Now, during a recent interview with Mas Lucha, that means more Lucha, Andrade El Hilo talked about when he learned of Brawl Out, Muffin Mania, Scrumgate, and revealed that he's had his own backstage issues, and he's going to let us know who that is. These transcripts come to you via Fightful. He said this: I learned about the gossip initially via social media, with many headlines saying the guy fought this guy and all that. Now, remember, this is a translation here. Everyone usually stays in the same hotel on Wednesday for Dynamite until the Thursday after. I trained in the gym, and then a guy reached out to me and asked if I had heard about the altercation. I was like, what? When? What happened? I learned that there was an issue between Kenny and CM Punk. The two of them have always greeted me well. I got nothing bad to say about them. And the same thing goes for the Young Bucks. They're all good with me. But I did have an issue with him because but I did have one issue with a wrestler. I am going to say his name. It was Sammy Guevara. I had an issue with him because he once came to the locker room and complained that we hit him too hard. It's wrestling. Solve it in the ring. If I hit hard, hit me hard too. I learned that he came in and that he accused me like a little girl. After I learned about it, I spoke to him and asked if he had an issue with me, but he said he did not, and that's all there was to it. It's funny because not even in WWE, for example, Sheamus likes to hit, and all my respect for him because he loves to hit hard and loves the strikes. He's wild. Even The Miz likes to throw strikes. Not even John Cena complained about me. So if he didn't complain, imagine this kid who's just starting. So then the beef moved over to the Twitter. Larson, you want to take the story from here?
Sure. Yeah. So Andrade tweeted, quote, I said it to your face. If you had a problem with me and you said nothing, I won't beat your ass because I'm a professional. Don't be scared. When I say something, I name names, and I'm not scared to get fired. Hashtag Sammy. So that's Sammy Guevara responded, quote, you didn't say shit to me, you liar, but here's some truth, you ungrateful prick. You would be jobless if it wasn't for your dad-in-law. Are you really mad at me? You're mad at yourself for failing to get over for a second time. Just go back to WWE like we all know you want to do and fuck off. And then Andrade followed with this. Okay, I'm a liar. See you on Wednesday. I'll tell you to your face again. And nothing you say that you do not have any problem. Jose, the assistant, also chimed in, tweeting that he, quote, I was there and can confirm this incident. He puts incident in quotes, happened. Yeah. So is this another work shoot thing or no?
I mean, they're not currently in a feud with each other. Andrade has a relatively high profile match coming up on, is it Dynamite or Rampage, the 10 mask match? I forget which one, but they've got this thing where Andrade loser leaves AEW or gets rid of his mask, depending on who it is match. Sammy had sort of subtweeted initially. Just something like,
it's like you're a jobber.
You're a jobber, a favor hire, be grateful, bitch. And I guess that's what sort of spurred Andrade to then fire back to that. This is the second time Sammy Guevara has been involved in some backstage drama in as many months. I believe it was just last month or the month before.
It was lead up to All Out. The story with Kingston.
Yeah. And I don't know why. Number one, I have always been impressed by Andrade's lack of fucks. This dude has never been afraid to run his mouth, to give us what he thinks. I've always appreciated the hell out of that. And if I'm Sammy Guevara and I'm talking shit to Andrade, who's right now also signed to AAA, one of the wildest promotions on the planet.
Actually, Lucha Blog disputed that Andrade was signed to AAA.
Oh, well, he does some work there, is my point. I mean, he does.
Okay,
he's appeared there from time to time over the past couple months, or last couple of years since he's been gone from WWE. Roosh obviously spent a lot of time at CMLL, as did Andrade, and things get wild in those lucha promotions down there, man. I don't know that even Jose, the assistant, seems ready to throw his shirt off and throw
down. Yeah,
I don't know. You want to fuck around with these guys, but evidently Sammy Guevara is interested in finding out, Larson.
Apparently, well, I guess we'll see what happens at Wednesday at Dynamite. I mean,
somebody get a camera back there for this.
I mean, honestly, I don't know if this is a shoot or a works or some combination thereof. I just don't want it to be another thing where now we got to have this story play out on TV. If like 75% of the stories in AEW spring from real life beef or something, it's lazy creative. And it gets to the point where I just don't find it interesting, because then it's just like, oh, how cute or clever could we get with referencing how these people don't like each other? I'm over it. Give me some interesting creative. Don't be lazy with this stuff.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with you, but clearly Tony Khan believes that his entire audience is on Twitter watching this stuff. So it's like, okay, might as well just make a thing of it. The thing about this, like, so do you think, like, because I don't think that Andrade's interview, it sounded like that was legit. Because why would you? I don't think they'd make a story about somebody complaining that people are hitting too hard when like that's just sort of exposing the business, which people just generally don't like to do anyways. Or use that as a story. But I don't know. It's funny. Andrade cracks me up. Like, he really does. The dude will say anything, and you gotta love it.
Yeah, he's not afraid to speak his mind. Yeah,
he's not. He's not. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I don't know. I mean, here's the bigger issue. We could talk about this silly drama all day long. What should Tony Khan do at this point, Larson?
It's called a talent meeting. You have a talent meeting. Listen.
That's not working. He's done 3 of them already. It don't work.
You put Mox in front of everybody. He says, all right, if everybody starts talking, spreading this stuff through interviews, guess what? I'm going to kick your ass. You know? You got to draw a line in the sand, essentially. Or Tony Khan's going to say, if this keeps up, guess what? I'm going to start firing people. I don't know what else you do.
Well, I think you got to.
I feel like all the backstage beef is taking away from. I mean, there's a lot of things taking away from my enjoyment of AEW at the time being, but this is just one of them. Like it's. I'm just tired of hearing about. All right, apparently nobody there gets along, and then we have to watch it all play out on TV. I'm just tired of it. Yeah. I want interesting stories, not the same old story.
Yeah,
just with different players. Give me something interesting. And if you're not gonna step in with a firm hand and say, all right, this is it. Maybe you got problems. You work it out backstage. And if you're incapable of doing that, then bring it up the ladder. Otherwise, don't say shit about it, because you're detracting from the product.
I just wonder why Andrade would just come out and say this. Like, it just names a dude. He says, I'm going to say his name. Sammy is Sammy. Just like, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Tony, he needs to start throwing out some suspensions, though, or something.
He does. I know he thinks that people having real beef enhances the product.
He can't think that anymore, though, right?
I don't know.
Like,
I mean, he probably saw the ratings bump that Dynamite got after Brawl Out. It's like, oh, I'm justified thinking that way, because people are more intrigued by the product now based on what happened.
It makes him look like kind of an asshole, though, with just all this shit getting out. People seeming like it's just the Wild West back there. I mean, that's what isn't Billy Gunn or Kurt Angle? Somebody, I think it was Billy Gunn, described it as the Wild West, but he was talking more like creatively speaking in terms of like promos.
Yeah, I think so. But that might include this as well. Who knows? All this people just talking. Mm-hmm. Everybody having beef apparently. So in that same Mas Lucha interview, Andrade also talked about feeling stagnant in AEW, saying, and these transcripts are from Cultaholic, quote, "Right now I feel a little stagnant. I feel like I want more. I feel like although I have a good contract, the schedule is good. I like the schedule because WWE was inhuman. It was quite a lot. People cannot imagine. They think because he is fighting on TV, it is the only time he fights. There are non-televised matches in other cities, other countries. Right now it's difficult because I want more. I feel like I want more now that Roosh is back. It's the pressure that we want more.
I mean, he sounds like he's an ambitious fella. He's always, Andrade has always been the kind of guy who's never like resting on his laurels. He's always like interested in being more involved. And unfortunately, WWE main roster and AEW really hasn't been able to take full advantage of what you and I think have both, and a lot of people think that he can offer. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what that is, or I don't know what that means. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this gets him any movement or where Andrade goes from here. But man, this starting up some shit with Sammy Guevara, that's definitely a step in a direction, I guess.
Yeah,
I suppose. But no, I like the team of him and Roosh. Roosh is they're both obviously phenomenal wrestlers. It'll be interesting to see. They need to get out of this contract stuff. He needs to stop dicking around with the Dark Order and trying to poach people. Like, being used in a storyline that's essentially Tony Khan taking shots at WWE trying to, tamper with contracts, according to him.
I know.
This is like
come up with some interesting stories that actually elevate your talent, That's what I'm looking for, not this, self-referential stuff or referencing people having real beef.
Yeah.
You can see, here's the thing, like, the self-referential stuff or referencing real beef between people is okay as long as it's part of a larger story.
Yeah.
Then I don't mind it. But if that's all the story is, then it just feels shallow and not terribly creative. I'll reference Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle. They've obviously had their own problems in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And they've referenced that, but that hasn't necessarily been the entirety of the story.
You're right. Did they ever actually? Because, like, from what I understand, like, Matt Riddle's now ex-wife or whatever it is had said some disparaging comments about Becky, and then Matt Riddle had to go to apologize. That was like the reports or whatever. I mean, her comments were on social media, so we know that was out there. But I don't know. Did they ever actually? I don't know if they ever. They're very clever about like dancing around that, but understanding that they have some personal issues. I mean, there was that weird moment at Survivor Series a couple years ago where Seth just completely, just left the match before there was any, contact with Matt Riddle. But it wasn't the context of his character. It made sense at the time. They didn't. Well, just
also
do
it was
that.
around that time that Seth was asked, what do you think about working with Matt Riddle? He just said, I'm never working with him.
That seemed like it was. Yeah, that seemed like it was completely real. Like that was just him saying, I'm not going to do that. And then, a couple accounts said that, Riddle went up and apologized to him. And now they're in a really, really interesting feud. This Fight Pit match is coming up. They traded some shots last night, which were pretty good, I thought. So yeah, we could just dive into Raw, beyond the Rollins Riddle stuff. We'll get to that in a second here. Some more White Rabbit clues, more QR codes to go around this time. It was there was the Predator language involved. There were some Renaissance era paintings, I believe. They brought out the fractal, or whatever you call it. What do you call those things? They had it last.
I don't remember what you call them, but that's what I kind of. So I have that the first one, the first QR code in front of me that what it led to.
Yeah,
and so there's a picture, an old painting. And you click on one side and there's some coordinates listed. Apparently those are the coordinates of Philadelphia, and that's where Extreme Rules is happening.
Extreme Rules,
and then you mentioned the Predator language. So there's, looks to be, I don't know, like a short paragraph of words that are coded in this language from the movie, from the movie Predator.
Yeah.
And it's been translated, I believe, as a quote from Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, right.
And then you mentioned the fractal, where if you stare at that, then I think some numbers show up. And that was, oh man, I forget what it was. But then there was a binary code also that spelled out the word Gacy. But then last week, apparently there was some binary code that spelled out Bianca, I believe. So I guess it's not necessarily saying Gacy's going to be involved in this story. Just watch Gacy's segment on NXT.
And there might be another QR code. Corey Graves had a QR code on the back of the contract. I didn't even look at that one. But yeah, no, there's all sorts of stuff going on. And yeah, I think it's a lot of. Oh, there was white rabbit milk. One of the things was I think it was the numbers in the fractal was led to like white rabbit milk or something. So yeah, I mean, this all just means that he's probably going to show up sooner or later at some point. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. You know, Larson.
What's that, Steve?
We've been seeing more and more professional athletes speaking out about the importance of mental health these days. There's been several top stars that have taken time away to tend to their own mental well-being. But pro athletes, they're not the only ones who need to take care of their mental health. And therapy is the best way for anybody to stay in peak mental shape.
Yeah, I was there myself about 20 years ago. In my mid-20s, I started dealing with severe anxiety, and it got to the point where I realized that I needed to go to therapy. But back then, finding the right therapist was difficult, and it took me quite a while. But once I found someone I felt comfortable talking to, I started learning the tools necessary to better deal with my anxiety. Now, BetterHelp is a great option because it makes the process of finding a therapist much more convenient and accessible. The whole process is done online, so you don't even have to leave your house. And all you got to do to get connected with a therapist is fill out a quick survey. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time.
So when you're ready to feel at the top of your mental health game, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, Raycon. Don't know if you know this, Steve, but most mornings I try to get a workout in before we start working. And I like to listen to some music to pump myself up when I'm trying to make some gains. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of 80s music, and it's sounding better than ever through my Raycon wireless earbuds.
Jamming out to that Alan Parsons project. Nice. You know, dude, Raycon's everyday wireless earbuds look, feel, and sound better than ever. They've got a great in-ear fit thanks to optimized gel tips, and I understand you're going to perform a demonstration of that fit right now. Isn't that correct, Larson?
That is correct. I will shake my head, and these will not budge. These Raycon wireless earbuds will not budge. Take a look. You ready?
Right, let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, he's shaking his head. He's shaking his head hard. Look at that. That brain is rattling around that giant head of his. He is shaking, and those earbuds are going nowhere. I can confirm.
They're not moving.
Those earbuds are not moving. Absolutely. You know, dude, Raycon wireless earbuds also offer 3 sound profiles that match up your audio experience to whatever it is you're listening to. If you're into podcasts like Going and Raw, then put your Raycon wireless earbuds on the pure sound profile. But if you're listening to some rock, switch over to the balanced profile. Or if you're listening to some hip hop or EDM, switch over to the bass profile.
And Raycon wireless earbuds also offer 2 different modes: noise isolation for when I want to block out the outside world and rock out while lifting weights, or awareness mode for when I'm listening to a podcast or music in the background while I'm maybe getting some stuff done around the house.
And Raycons are priced right. You get that quality audio at half the price of other premium audio brands. So go to buyraycon.com today and use code RAW15 to get 15% off your Raycon order. That's code RAW15 at buyraycon.com to score 15% off. Buyraycon.com, code RAW15. Let's talk about go home math, because we talked about this a little bit on the show yesterday. We're talking about Bianca Belair and Bayley. And what happened last night, we had a fairly compelling contract signing where Bayley says, hey, you know what? I used to be you. You know that little girl over there at the entrance with the Bianca Belair sign? Well, that sign used to say Bayley. You got the ponytail. All little girls used to put their ponytail to the side. And then what happened? The cheers started to fade away, and I found myself dropping further down that ladder, because the ladder is a big metaphor. That was why I had that idea for my career. And I thought Bayley's performance was particularly good because Bianca says, no, that was fake. This is the real you. And Bayley looked pretty shook by that. Well, one thing leads to another. Damage Control shows up. They had already taken out Asuka and Alexa Bliss, so they've been written off.
After the main event, yeah.
Right. They're out. The idea is now Damage Control, they lay out Bianca Belair. They all ascend the ladder while Bianca is laying after a rose plant. And Bayley grabs that title, holds it high, and Damage Control ends the show in control, so to speak. What are your thoughts on how this can play out at Extreme Rules?
You know, we just talked about yesterday about whether Triple H would defy the conventions of go-home math. And we thought, something will happen at the end of this that'll kind of leave it open-ended. A brawl, a pull apart, something like that. No, we got Damage Control laying out Alexa, Asuka, Bianca, put a ladder in the middle of the ring over Bianca. Bayley grabbed her title, scaled the top of the ladder. Dakota and Io on opposite sides of the ladder, all holding up titles. I mean, that's about as strong a go-home math as you could imagine. That Bianca's going to retain at Extreme Rules. Now, I guess the question is it a situation? Part of it is I don't know how aware, I don't know if in booking meetings, if something along the lines of the phrase go-home math exists.
I mean, the concept has to.
You think so? It might be referred to by some other term, obviously, but is this something where Triple H is playing with the conventions of go home math, leading people to think, okay, well, Bayley stood tall on the go home show, so Bianca's going to win, but no, this is actually just kind of foreshadowing of what you're actually going to see at Extreme Rules. But if that's the case, that image loses its power a bit happening on Raw rather than Extreme Rules.
Well, I think we also are missing a big piece of the puzzle, and that's the match. So, I think we'll get a better idea of it once this goes down. Now, you and I are both under the assumption, okay, well, Bayley's holding that title. She's climbing that ladder. And I think of it more along the lines of, well, this is the end of the second act. The bad guy has gotten the upper hand. All the odds are stacked against the hero. Bianca Belair, her buddies are gone. How is she going to overcome these odds? And that, I think, is probably the question they want us to be asking, as opposed to, okay, well, it's a foregone conclusion that she's going to win this match, which maybe it is. Maybe Bianca will win this because of what we have seen over the past however many decades and how go-home math works. And I wonder, I'm like, okay, well, how is Bianca going to even the odds against Bayley and Damage Control at Extreme Rules? And the one thing that I can think of is, well, maybe this is a setup for Sasha and Naomi to come back. And maybe that'll be the War Games match. Bianca retains thanks to Sasha and Naomi. Damage Control. Or they do the thing. One thing that Triple H has done is he gets the outcome that he wants in terms of okay, well, I want Bayley to have this title. So maybe Bayley gets the title. And then afterwards, Damage Control beats down Bianca Belair, and that brings out Sasha and Naomi, and Damage Control doesn't have anything to do with the ladder match. I don't know.
I don't know either.
But it does seem like two of Bianca's allies are down, and Bayley has two of her own. Well, that leaves a spot open for, the former women's tag team to come in, who, by all reports, are back with the company and listed on internal, roster spots and everything. So it wouldn't shock me to see them come back at Extreme Rules, even the odds for Bianca. But then the only question is, okay, where do you go from there? Let's say Sasha and Naomi come back at Extreme Rules, help Bianca wins. Then they walk into War Games. You can't have that face team lose at War Games, and you can't have Damage Control lose at War Games. So I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know.
I mean, it would make sense to a degree to have Bayley win Extreme Rules. Bianca's team wins at War Games, and then at Survivor Series. No, that's at Survivor Series, and then whatever, at the Rumble, whatever. Day one, I guess, would be the next pay-per-view. Have Bianca Bayley again. Maybe Bianca gets the title back.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But then if Bianca wins, and then the faces win at Survivor Series, then feud has to be over, at least between Bianca and Bayley. Now you can have Sasha and Naomi still feud with Io and Dakota for the tag titles.
Yeah.
That could continue.
I mean, they've set up a lot of things in terms of people faces that can feud with Bayley for that Raw Women's title. I mean, Asuka's number one. She, had her knee taken out last night, and in another month maybe she could be written back in or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just, if Sasha and Naomi are going to come back You would think that it would have, like, for them to make an actual impact, Bianca would have to retain that title. Mm-hmm. But then I don't know what, if that's the case and you have all those titles heading into War Games.
Maybe at War Games it's winner take all there. Maybe that's why they didn't do that at Clash at the Castle.
That could be. I did a modicum of research. So War Games 2019 was when the Undisputed Era had all the titles, and they didn't do that's 4 titles. I don't think that it would be kind of silly to do winner takes all anyways, because then you're like, well, who gets the world title? Well, you get the world, or you get the North American title? Yeah. So that's kind of silly. But yeah, I don't know. Heading into Extreme Rules, I honestly don't know what I'm going to go with. I just would hesitate to put too much stock into go home math this time around, just because we don't know how Triple H is gonna treat that stuff. Maybe every story beat, will have its own. Anything can happen in a single match. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I hope that is the case. I hope that it gets to the point where it's like, I don't know, Bayley got this. The odds are stacked against Bianca. Maybe the grand plan is War Games, and Extreme Rules is the actual end of the second act where Bayley does get the title. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
It remains to be seen. I mean, right now there's 6 matches on the Extreme Rules card, and there's I feel like one gimme, and that's it. And that's Riddle winning the Fight Pit match.
I think that's a gimme.
Cross will probably win.
Here's the thing about Cross and Drew. There is a distinct possibility that match is not going to have a winner, because, or Cross wins because of Bray. Like, I think if there's any chance of Bray coming back during a match, it's going to be that one, which could mean, the lights go out and then they go to commercial and everybody disappears.
Extreme Rules rolls on.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, just nothing happens. But I get the feeling that, Cross is probably going to win that one. I have no idea. SmackDown's going to inform me on what I think about Liv and Ronda, because yeah, dude, it's Extreme Rules. Like, if they want to build up Liv, but maybe that's going to be where Liv really makes a hard heel turn because she loses her title to Ronda. It's this is her opportunity. Or she has 2 wins over Ronda. What, you going to have a third one on her?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's jump right into it. So the show opened up with Judgment Day. Finn and Damian Priest taking on Rey Mysterio and AJ Styles, or as you like to say, Steve.
Oh, Ray Styles, man. Did you see that awesome new shirt they dropped?
Yeah.
I did it. It was just
you did it.
Stupid in-joke to kill 3 hours of time during Raw last night.
So before the match, Judgment Day had a promo. Finn says 11 years ago, Edge was medically forced to quit, but against all the odds, he fought back with strength and determination and returned to doing what he loves the most, and that's performing in the ring in front of all the fans. And Priest says, "Yeah, let's hear it for Edge." And so Finn continues. But as with most things in life, you can only outrun fate for so long. Judgment catches up with all of us, and Extreme Rules, I'm going to act as the cruel hand of fate that reminds Edge that he doesn't belong anywhere near a ring I'm standing in. But I'm going to do Edge a favor because I'm a nice guy. I'm going to beat Edge so bad that he's going to utter the words, "I quit." And the Priest says, "I'm so excited to witness firsthand you giving Edge
a beating so bad.
A beating so bad that he has to say the words, 'I quit.' And let that serve as notice to anyone who wants to step to Judgment Day, because Judgment Day will always rise, and that goes especially for our opponents tonight." Who was that, Steve?
Ray Styles.
So Rhea whispers something in Dom's ear. And Dom says, "I'll tell you who my daddy is," because the crowd's chanting, "Who's your daddy?"
Right.
And he says, "It's not Rey Mysterio." He says to Rey, "I hate you.
Jefe.
I hate you so much. You lied to me my entire life, and I have a new family now, thanks to Judgment Day." So then Finn says, what?
Question.
Yes, Steve. Yes.
He said, "I'll tell you who my daddy is," and then he didn't answer that question. I'm dying to know who is that. Like, is it Eddie? Was he going to say Eddie? Did he get on 23andMe? Ancestry.com.
Maybe. I don't know. So Finn says, "Speaking of family, my old friend AJ. AJ, I could have ended your career last week." At first he said yesterday. No, I'm so fired up. I mean last week.
You people are so annoying. I meant last week.
But chose not to. You know why? Because I'm your friend. The olive branch is still extended, but trust me, I'm not a bad guy, so don't make me do bad things. And then he's interrupted by AJ Styles, and then we get Judgment Day against who, Steve?
A-Ray Styles.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Unfortunately, this team did not last very long. Let's see here. What was the finish? The finish was... I'm looking for...
Dom does the thing where he drops to his knees again to try to get Ray to hit him after Ray is outside. Mm-hmm. So AJ's looking for... Oh, sorry. Let's go back a little bit. AJ's looking for a tag to Ray because AJ's getting isolated. Rhea pulls Ray off the apron. Mm-hmm. And then Priest hits Styles with the clothesline. Finn is in. AJ buys some time by hitting the double DDT on Finn and Priest. So Ray, rather than get on the apron to get the tag, goes to confront Rhea. Mm-hmm. So Dom steps in and gets on his knees again. It's like, come on, hit me.
Hit me.
Hit me.
Hit me, Hefe.
So Ray does it. And he turns around. Rhea clotheslines him. Mm-hmm. And so AJ's watching all this. Finn hits AJ with a shotgun drop kick, coup de grace, to get the win. And then Ray gets the ring to help up AJ, and AJ's just pissed. And Ray's like, I'm sorry.
You're distracted this entire time by your son and his new lady friend. And Ray's like,
AJ says, I needed you.
Yeah.
It's all your fault.
It's your fault.
He pushes him.
Ray just landed on his ass. There were two moments here where Ray just like completely bumped. So Judgment Day then attacks AJ from behind, but of course A-Ray Styles has just been broken up by AJ. Finn pummels AJ with punches, tells AJ, I'm your only friend. You got no one else. And then Priest hits AJ with a nasty chokeslam. So yeah, sad days for AJ Styles. A-Ray Styles, rest in peace. So there you go.
It was a good run.
It was a good run, solid run. A couple of Hall of Famers teaming up like that.
Yep.
Anyways,
hell of a run.
Yeah. Earlier in the day, Bob Lashley arrives at the arena looking contemplative, and Kevin Patrick walks up for an interview. Contemplative. He looked like he was lost in thought when he was rolling through.
Yeah.
He said, although my legacy is important to me, I will not become complacent. I've said this since day one, and I'll say it again. It's not the title that makes the man; it's the man that makes the title. So it can be 3 days, 3 months, 3 years. Bobby Lashley's mentality won't change because I know what it takes to get here. I've been pushed to the limits by some of this industry's best, and I've beaten them all. Drew, Roman, Brock, Seth Rollins. So what's next? I want somebody who has the same hustle and desire to get here. That's what I'm looking for. And Mustafa Ali with a sick new hairstyle steps in. Says, you're talking about desire. He says, I've got plenty of that. But I'm still sitting in the back of the line waiting for somebody to call my number, and I'm done waiting.
Wait, is his new gimmick Bono?
Oh, man.
You singing?
U2 fan for life, this Mustafa Ali. You name it, he's into it.
Sunglasses like Bono was. What was that character's name? The Fly?
The Fly?
The Octane Baby?
Man, when he got his iPhone and Apple automatically uploaded a U2 album to it, he was
the whole
hyped.
album, I know.
The entire album. He was like, what are all these people complaining about?
But now I get it free gratis.
All these people are complaining about this shit. Thank you, Steve Jobs. Anyways, or was it the other guy? I don't know. Anyways, he says, I'm sitting in the back of the line waiting for someone to call my number, and I'm done waiting. I'm stepping up to the front of the line. I want my opportunity, and I want it now. And Lashley says, yeah, man, I see you grinding. Keep it up, and I'll make sure you get your opportunity. And he's like, no, you're not listening to me. I'm not asking you for an opportunity. I'm not asking you for a damn thing. I'm demanding it. And Lashley says, you want your opportunity? You got it.
And that happened later. But first, Sami Zayn's backstage talking to Jimmy and Solo. He's telling a story that's got Jimmy just cracking up. It's about like something's on fire.
This story is wild. So wild.
Yeah. Something's on fire, and someone's asking, where's my dog? And Sami says, well, I'm here. I'm your dog.
Yeah.
That was like the punchline of it.
What a great story that was.
Jimmy is cracking up, and the Jay steps in. So Jimmy gets serious real quick. And Jay's like, what's so funny? And Sammy's like, this wasn't important. And then Jay's here is like, well, we're supposed to be here handling business. And Jimmy says, well, we're just cracking jokes, joking around. And Sammy goes, no, Jay, you're right. We are here for business. And Jay says, we got to let everybody know that Roman will be here next week for the season premiere of Raw. And Sammy's like, hey, let the honorary Oos handle this one. Let's go put these fools on notice. So they start walking down the corridors of the arena, walk up to the Street Profits. And Sammy says to them, I got a message for you and for the whole locker room that we'll be here with Roman, so be ready to acknowledge him.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And
then Forge says, you're walking around here like you own the arena. You don't own the arena. There's only two things the bloodline need to acknowledge, and it's D's.
Whoa! And then Dawkins stops in. Jimmy says, no, go ahead and finish what you're saying. And Jay tells Ford, he says, if you have something disrespectful about Roman to say, he says, I'm going to give you 2 matching boots. Because Ford he's got one of them boots on because of his
got a walking
busted.
boot, yeah.
So Doc can say, Jay, you're talking with a lot of bass in your voice. He says, why don't I break my boot off in your ass? And then Solo steps up to Doc and says, why don't you try that on me? So later on, we get that bitch. But first, we have Bobby Lashley completely annihilating Mustafa Ali. Every time this dude puts together some offense, oh, man. That time when he hit that 450 on Lashley's arm, I was like, oh, it's a great-looking spot.
I love it. I love that we did that to Buddy Murphy back during their feud on 205. I love that bit. Yeah, I know. So, yeah, that's basically the story. Lashley just destroying Ali making a bit of a comeback, only for Lashley to put an end to it. But the thing is that Ali keeps getting back up every time. And so the finish saw Lashley hit a spear, puts on the Hurt Lock. But the ref is asking Ali, you going to tap? And you hear Ali say, no. And so he just passes out. So Lashley wins. So Lashley goes to help Ali up. Hey, you're in my respect. Seth comes out of nowhere to blast Lashley from behind, falls with a stomp, and then stomps Lashley on the U.S. title, and then goes to the floor and stomps Ali on the floor.
Oh, he's having a stomp party, man. He's loving it. He gets in the ring. We roll on. We get a Seth Rollins promo. He says, now that we've cleared Bobby Trashley from the ring, we can get on with this evening's festivities. This Saturday in Philly, I go one-on-one with the original bro, Matt Riddle, in a match that is soon to become synonymous with my name. Behold the Fight Pit. He throws to a Fight Pit video package. There was 2 Fight Pit matches, right? It was Thatcher and Ciampa
and Thatcher, then Riddle and Thatcher. Yeah.
And then he says the things I'm going to do to Riddle inside the Fight Pit, I'm going to show him what I just showed Lashley, what I showed to Cody, what I've showed the whole world. I'm the most dangerous man in this industry. But that's Saturday, and we're here in St. Paul tonight, and I'm scheduled to go face-to-face with Riddle. So let's not waste any more of your time. Scoot your stupid face out here, Riddle, so you could piss me off in person. Riddle walks to the ramp. Seth says, there's the guy whose face I'm going to smash in. Come down and pay your respects to the king of the Fight Pit. And then Riddle says, let me remind you, bro, you've never been in a Fight Pit match before like I've been in it before. And Seth says, let me remind you that tonight we have a no contact clause, no physicality. If you lay one finger on Seth freaking Rollins, the match on Saturday is off. Riddle says, don't worry, I'm not here to give you more stitches in your forehead. By the way, that gash on Seth's forehead was pretty deep. He says, I'm here to give you an educational lesson on the Fight Pit. Because I'm not just going to hurt you, bro. I'm just not going to beat you. I'm going to kill you this Saturday. And when I'm done beating your lifeless body and DC has to pull me off in victory, they're not going to be singing your song. And then he does a really lame version of Seth Rollins' song using the word bro. Yeah. But Seth, the crowd doesn't really respond to it, but then Seth tells the crowd to stop chanting it. And so, of course, they do what Seth wants, but then they do the opposite. So they start singing it. Seth is so good with the crowd, man. He says, you got it twisted, Riddle, because even though you and Cormier come from the same place, he's not on your side. He's going to have my back. DC is a fan of Seth Rollins, but I've got to admit, bro, you've got a nice singing voice. Do you sing to your kids to sleep like that? Oh, that's right. You're not allowed to see your kids anymore, are you? He says, come on, bro, just one shot. Hit me. He says, oh, wait, you can't because we got a big money match this Saturday, and you need all the cash you can get because these days child support is very expensive. Cue laugh track. And then Riddle gets pissed off. He says, back up, man. Your breath stink. He says, you know what? When's the last time you held a championship? Oh, that's right. The last time you faced Roman for a title, he choked your ass out. Remember the last time you main evented WrestleMania? Oh, wait, you haven't, but your wife has. That pisses Seth off. He says, it seems like you've come up second to Roman, to Becky, and this Saturday, you're going to come up second to me. So Seth and Riddle argue. And then DC shows up on the Tron.
Yeah.
And he says,
hey,
this is Stephen Larson, Daniel Cormier with a Matt Chat question.
Yeah. There's enough of the arguing here, gentlemen.
He says, if Fantasy Island was cast with wrestlers, who would they be? Anyways, he says, tired of this foolishness. He says, listen, Matt, we go way back. You're part of the UFC frat. He says, Seth, from afar, I've always admired you. I was up there in Santa Clara, and I may have celebrated. As the whole world is fed up, I too am fed up. What, he's fed up? Was this?
He's fed up with their arguing.
Oh, they're foolishness.
Them
Okay.
beefing. Yeah.
He said, somebody told me you were competing in a fight pit match this Saturday. He says, I'm into that. That's my world. He says, one thing I know, there has got to be a stern third man, brother, to lay down the law to make sure only one of you walk out. Now the time for talk is over. Train hard, train smart, and I'll see both of y'all in Philly. Say your prayers and eat your vitamins.
Yeah.
And then Seth gets in Riddle's face, knocks the hat off his head, and storms out of the ring.
Yep. Then we get Candice LeRae backstage. She walks past Bianca, Alexa, and Asuka. And the screen does the weird kind of TV flicker deal. And there's when the first QR code of the night pops up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one with the image. I guess it was Samson, Delilah.
Mm-hmm.
Painting,
yeah.
The bit with the language for Predator on it, all that.
Samson as in Elias Samson, perhaps?
Bianca tells Candice that you got this. Make sure you show damage control what the poison pixie is made of.
Damage control.
She has a match against Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
Then we're backstage. Miz is on the phone talking to Maurice. He says, Loomis has attacked me. He didn't mention him by name, of course. Says, in a hockey uniform, cost him the U.S. title. And Ciampa. Where's Ciampa? I haven't seen him in weeks. He says, I'm not leaving until I get assurances that something is being done about you-know-who because nothing will ruin my birthday celebration next week in Brooklyn. He starts talking that up. And while that's going on, Loomis opens the door behind Miz and starts kind of sneaking in. Then like one of the guys on the camera crew says, Miz. And he just tells him to shut up.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the phone. And so by the time the camera pans back over that doorway, the door is closed and Miz steps off frame. And then Loomis peeks through again.
Creeping. After that, we had Candice LeRae versus Dakota Kai. This was a hell of a match. Really good match here. Thanks to damage control shenanigans, though, Dakota Kai gets the win here. But yeah, man, this was really good stuff here. Dakota Kai got a roll up for the win. But it's after Bayley pushed Candice off the second rope. But that power bomb there off the second rope was pretty nasty there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then we get John Gargano. He's walking backstage, and as he's walking, he walks past Miz lying. You know how after Loomis puts someone to sleep with silence, their head is kind of resting on his lap. And
he cradles them, yeah.
He cradles them. And so he walks past that and sees that, stops, does a double take, goes back and walk over. By that time, Loomis is gone. Mm-hmm. Miz is just laying there, but he's got one of those caricatures that Loomis does. We have one of them.
Yeah.
Of Miz and Loomis, and Gargano just goes, oh, Dexter. What a jokester.
So for those watching, it is right there. There we are.
Yep.
It's very far away. Probably can't see it. But yeah, anyways, I love that. I love that Johnny's whole, we got to get Indy there, man. I'm hoping that once this Miz Dexter stuff wraps up, we get Indy.
That'd be cool.
After that, we had a damage control interview. Sarah says, after tonight, it's obvious why Bayley would want Dakota Kai and Io in her corner. And Bayley says, it's taking you this long to realize why I'd want weapons like Io and Dakota by my side. You know, Bayley's always pumping up her people, man. Mm-hmm. She says, you're just as dumb as Bianca, because I'm sure she just realized the importance of having allies. But you're not going to ruin my mood. I'm in a great mood after Kai's victory. And I'm going to do Bianca a favor tonight. I'm going to keep this just between her and I. Before the contract signing only. So Bianca, it's just you and me. But remember, you asked for this.
Then we get Otis versus John Gargano. Austin Theory joins commentary. And I talk about, this is a situation where apparently they feel like Gargano needs to be protected in a loss.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Because they want Otis to get some wins. Mm-hmm. So at one point, Otis rolls out of the ring. Gargano hits him with a suicide dive. He dives towards Theory, hits him with a bunch of shots, hits Otis with a tornado DDT off the apron to the floor, and then Gable distracts the ref. Theory then blasts Gargano with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Otis hits Gargano with the world's strongest slam to get the win afterwards. Alpha Academy and Theory, they start laying into Gargano. Braun comes out to make the save. He wants a match against Chad Gable right now. Ref rings the bell, and Braun just chucks Gable out of the ring onto Theory and Otis. Raw rolls on. We come back. Matches happen.
Yeah, man, we get that match, Braun Strowman versus Chad Gable. This is a lot of fun here. Braun just like throwing Gable everywhere. It was pretty great.
But Gable put on a hell of a performance, man.
He hit a German suplex on Braun Strowman.
That was damn impressive.
That was nuts. Yeah.
And then you had Amos and MVP watching backstage.
Amos versus Braun. Maybe it's Saudi Arabia. I don't know. That could be a good one. That could be fun.
Yeah. In the end, though, Gable misses a moonsault. Braun hits a boot powerbomb to get the win.
Yep. After that, backstage, Bobby Lashley's getting checked by the trainer. Bobby shoos him away. Kevin Patrick weasels his way in for an interview. Lashley says, I'm going to crush Seth's throat so I never have to hear that cackle again. And after Riddle beats him up in the fight pit, I'm going to finish him off because I'm getting Seth next week. Monday Night Raw, the season premiere. I'm putting my title on the line. There's no backing out, no excuses, no running away. I'm going to get him in the ring and bounce his little head around like a pinball, and then I'm going to slap him on the hurt lock and make him scream for mercy. I'm going to make him pass out in the middle of the ring. What are the odds Seth Rollins wins that on the to make good for the fight?
I think his odds are pretty decent. I actually think Rollins got a pretty good chance of walking out of Raw U.S. champ.
I think he does as well. I think they're going to use him to elevate that title even more. I think that's probably going to be the case. Yep. After that, we had the main event segment, Bianca Belair and Bayley in a contract.
Oh, no,
segment.
There's a lot more between this and the actual main event.
Oh, that was the top of the second hour. You're right. Yeah, we're at 7 o'clock now, or at the top of the third hour.
Yeah,
you're right.
So they come to the ring. Corey Graves is hosting. Bayley says, "Hey, it's just me, just like you asked. Do you feel safe? I feel great, despite not having my girls here. I feel good. Every single day of my plan has been going pretty good." She continues, "I can tell it shakes your confidence a little bit, but don't worry about that. I did this favor for you since you were dumb enough to accept the ladder match." And she signs the deal and says, "Bianca, look what your ego has gotten yourself into. I bet your ego made you think that I chose a ladder match because you KOD'd me atop of a ladder at Hell in a Cell, or you think I have half the ego that you do, and this would be the first ladder match for a women's title. But here's something for all you guys. It's something much bigger than that. The ladder is symbolic for my entire WWE career since the day I walked in. Unlike you, I've had to climb to try to get to the top, and in that process, I was you. I had the ponytail, had all that, the colorful sequins on the gear, and there used to be Bayley signs in the crowd, and the fans had the headbands on and all the ponytails were to the side. You know what happened? They gave up on me and they stopped caring. And when they stopped caring, my whole career spiraled, and I had to do something to climb my way back to the top." And that's when Bianca tells her to shut up, and she signs the contract. And then Corey says, "Hey, both of you, good luck." And he holds up the folio, and there's a QR code, giant QR code on the back.
It's huge, yeah.
It's humongous. So Bianca continues, says, "Bayley, you continue to run your mouth over and over again. You got this chip on your shoulder that has nothing to do with me. It might be hard to see someone have everything you want, but comparison is the thief of joy. And you, Bayley, never compare yourself to me because you'll never be me, never be like me, and never do it better than me. You want to know why everything you didn't work? It's because you're pretending to be someone you're not. See, this is the real me, and that's why the fans, connect to me. You didn't evolve, you just became the real you, and now you're showing everyone your real colors. And this plan that you came back to SummerSlam with, well, congratulations. It took you a whole year to come up with a plan, but I didn't need a plan because I stay ready, so I don't need to get ready. Plus, do you think you're the only person who tried to surprise me at SummerSlam? And you see how that worked out for me," referencing Becky. "But since you like planning, you can plan on still calling me champ after Extreme Rules." Bayley says, "We'll see about that since my girls are going to be right there by my side. Speaking of my girls, I wonder how they're doing. I'm pretty sure we were supposed to go out and get something to eat." And you cut to backstage, and Io and Dakota are laying out Asuka and Alexa. So then Bayley uses that distraction to attack Bianca. So Bianca tries to fend off Bayley long enough so she can run backstage to help. Bayley intercepts, but then Bianca just ends her throwing her into the apron. Bleh. Sprints up the ramp backstage to check on Alexa and Asuka. By the time she gets there, Asuka's had a chair wrapped around her leg, and they're trying to help her with that. And then Bliss stares in the camera and says, "This isn't over. EO, you and me tonight."
That's right, yeah. That ended up being the main event. Before that, we had Solo Sikoa versus Angelo Dawkins. You would have thought that maybe all the bickering between Sammy and Jay, which was pretty thick, would have led to Solo Sikoa getting the loss here, but nope. Solo Sikoa is still able to get the win, even though Angelo Dawkins he took out Sammy and Jay with a big
Oh, a tope, yeah.
Big tope, yeah. But in the end, yeah, it was a spinning heel kick. Uranagi. Solo Sikoa got the win, but he was pretty pissed with both Sammy and Jay for all the arguing because it was very distracting. After that, Austin Theory's talking to Otis backstage. He says, you did exactly what you needed to do. He says, where's Chad? Otis brings him in, and Gable's like, I almost had him, guys. I almost had him. He's still pretty beat up. Theory says, we're not done with Gargano. That's why next week it's going to be me versus Gargano. I'm going to put him down like a dog.
Yeah. Then we got the Edge Matt Chat promo. Literally within this promo, he gave Judgment Day the key to beating him. Because he says this version of Edge that you see now since I've come back is pretty much just Adam. It's me. The veil of character is gone. He says, again, he references having to retire at 37 and having to claw his way back at 46, and said it's at that time coming back was difficult, but it's become progressively more difficult. He says what's become harder is that it's not just taking a toll on me, it's taking a toll on my family. But maybe more difficult is seeing the doubt, maybe the fear in Beth's eyes. And she wants her husband to come out of this hole.
And that's going to be the thing. That's going to be the thing.
Right there.
It's right there. Beth's going to be there. Rhea's going to, I don't know, threaten to do something. Yeah.
So he says, I got to give Judgment Day credit. They've made it more difficult. They picked me apart. They beat me down. It's harder and harder to put myself back together, but I keep putting myself back together. I know what I have to do with my back is against the wall. I become a one-man gang. He says, Finn can't hurt me enough to make me say I quit. I hope you're all ready for a war, because I damn sure am.
Yeah, but they can hurt Beth enough. After that, we had Alexa Bliss versus Io Sky. This was the main event right here. And yeah, again, lots of shenanigans going on here. Io Shirai ended up getting the win with a moonsault, right? Wasn't that what it was? Yeah, here we go. Air raid crash.
So like my stream on my DVR froze with the air raid crash she hit. So I don't know if she hit the moonsault.
Yeah, she hit the moonsault because it was fierce. I love her moonsault. It's so violent. Gotcha. So yeah, she hit that. She hit the moonsault. Thanks to distractions and whatnot. Afterwards, Bayley and Dakota Kai get in the ring. Damage control attacks Bliss. Kai and Io put a ladder in the ring as Bayley is stomping on Bliss. Bianca gets back in the ring, goes after Bayley. Dakota Kai and Io clobber Belair with the ladder. Asuka then comes down. This is a mistake because the crowd kind of didn't react too much to Asuka. You got to hit that music. You got to hit the music. They didn't hit Asuka's music. Hit that music, boom, crowd goes crazy. So she limps to the ring. It was a great visual. She limps to the ring. She's got a kendo stick. She hits Kai with it. Io drop kicks her off the apron to the floor. Asuka slides in the ring. She gets beat down with the ladder. Damage control puts Bliss between the ladder. Io and Dakota Kai kick that, so she's out. Kai and Io set up the ladder. Dakota Kai hits Bianca with a face wash. Bayley hits a rose plant on her and then hits another one on Bliss. Kai and Io move the ladder directly over Bianca. Bayley grabs Bianca's title. Damage control scales the ladder, holds the title up.
Yep.
So, yeah. We'll see. I doubt they're going to continue any of this on SmackDown, although I guess it's possible.
It's possible.
I don't feel like it's probably not necessary, though. Like, this was a hell of a punctuation mark to lead into
this seemed pretty definitive.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. We've got a thread right here on the Patreon at patreon.com/Stephen Larson. By the way, we have to do the survey for this week's Numbers Don't Lie. Oh, it's up? Okay, cool. All right, I need to get that on Nightbot then. Let's see here. That's weird. Here we go. All right. First up from Cameron Bartolazzo. Does ladder match math still apply with Triple H? Does Bayley's chance at winning drastic go down? Again, we're missing the big piece of the puzzle. We're still learning. We're all just learning here, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll find out. We'll find out on Saturday.
Patrick Kennedy has an interesting one. My question is, for the White Rabbit QR code from SmackDown, could the wolf in red pants also be a point towards Braun for joining Bray?
I think it's a possibility. There's so much history there. There's so much history there. It would not shock me at all. Let's see here. Nikhil says Judgment Day seems to always get wins with a lot of interference in every one of their matches. a member is involved in at some point, does Judgment Day need a legit win without any interference, or are they going to continue this sort of booking of their matches? Well, let's look at who's in charge. It's Triple H. That guy used a sledgehammer all the time. That dude. So I kind of feel like no, I think that bad guys cheat, bad guys use numbers, and no, I don't think I don't think so. I think that they can continue along this path because they're bad guys.
Yeah, agreed.
Sleazy Mo, if Ray and Dominic end up having a match against each other, do you think they'll add a stipulation where if Ray loses, he must lose his mask?
I'd be surprised.
He is a merchandise machine with that mask.
I would think so.
I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe. I think that would be like, I don't know, like a retirement thing for him, right? Like,
yeah, maybe.
But I don't think he's going to retire anytime soon.
No,
he still moves like he's fucking 23.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's nuts.
Xavier Gray. Next week's Raw is going to be the 25th anniversary of DX and the return of Roman Reigns on the Red brand. Do you think that Triple H will invoke his right as head of creative to make Reigns relinquish the WWE Championship, or should that happen after Crown Jewel and Survivor Series? Should happen after he being Roman, loses the belts.
I agree. That's when it should be, but I don't know. It depends on, if they want two. I don't think they should do two titles heading into WrestleMania, man. Because then you're just going to have one of those titles defended and it's going to be in the mid-card, Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Time War says, you were talking about the video effects used during the Karrion Kross video promo on Drew on SmackDown. If you were to run a video promo on the other person, what video effects would you implement, Larson? If you were to run a video promo on me. Okay. Star wipes.
All the cheesy, like public access transitions and wipes that they use.
Yeah. A blinking video calibration indicator.
That's good, too.
That's what I would do. It'd be like just fuzzy VHS. It'd be like
the time code up there in the corner.
Right, yeah. Yeah, video calibration.
That's good.
Half my promo would be lost. You can't see shit.
Exactly.
Let's see here. Here we go. Here we go. Perfect. Alex Foster. If you guys had QR codes advertised on Raw, what images or videos would play?
It'd be either me yelling at you for cheating.
Okay.
The deep purple incident.
Okay, yeah.
Probably that. Or Otis winning Money in the Bank.
Oh, that's good. Man, I'd dig into our past and viral videos that we always got a kick out of. I'd go with LT Style, Electric Glide. I'd go with Super Timor, of course. I'd go with Bobby
Brett, Poop My Pants.
George Brett, Poop My Pants. Bobby Hacker's Cars. It'd be like, he's digging into the past. He's going way back to like before they even did Machinima stuff. Let's see here.
Mayor Planet Houston here asks, if you just started out as a wrestler with no experience, what would be your preferred path in the business? Spending some time on the indies and seeing where that took you, because becoming a young lion at New Japan, or starting out NXT and have them turn you into the kind of wrestler they want you to be.
Just for the, I was talking to Rob about this the other day. Like I got a subscription to, what is it, IWTV, Independent Wrestling Television. I love that shit because I love just seeing the various promotions and like the localities. I would love to be, if I were just starting out, if I was like, back when we were at Northridge and I was like, you know what, guys, who needs film school? I want to become an indie wrestler. And I became serious about it. Traveling around seems like it'd be amazing in your 20s. It seems like it'd be a blast going to those little tiny territories. And yeah, that's what I would do. I would be an indie wrestler.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of like the do-it-yourself shit,
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. At the same time, I don't really like traveling that much, so I guess NXT for me.
There you go. Just Orlando. You'd be a
I don't
Florida,
like living
man.
out of my suitcase. I don't like living out. Well, that's true. I'd have to move to Florida.
You'd be Florida man as opposed to living in Japan or at the LA dojo.
So yeah, I guess indie wrestler would be my last choice, and then tied for first would be NXT or Young Lion.
Just in the system. Get that guaranteed paycheck. They tell you what to do every day.
Don't have to live out of a suitcase, which is really the thing. I can't stand doing that.
Get to pick Shibata's brain about stuff.
See, that sounds great.
Yeah, there you go, man. I want
Minoru Suzuki will maybe slap me or kick me at shows from time to time.
I want to haggle.
That's a badge of honor.
I want to haggle with promoters. Hey, man, come on.
Right.
Where's my money? Oh, payout's coming soon, man. Yeah, meet me here in an hour. Why? Why am I meeting you here in an hour? Just give me my money. It's $50 lousy. Oh, did I say 50? I thought we said 35. Come on, man. And where's my gas money? Oh, that was never part of the agreement. God damn it. It says in this email right here.
That. I'd quit right there. It's like, I'm not cut out for this.
I would hate that shit. I would hate having to haggle with people.
Luis Ariza says, with Finn announced as a de facto leader of Judgment Day, how will you go about making him more of a leader? That commentary did say that during the opening bout on Raw.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know what, man? The cream rises to the top there. It's kind of, what, Damian Priest is going to be leading them? No, I don't think so.
I like the idea of Rhea being the leader.
Well, she's the Dom Whisperer now. You know, I like that she's sort of like, I kind of, you know, I was definitely into that idea, but I like that she's the X Factor. She's the one you really have to be worried about. And that person's never really the leader. You know what I mean? They're just like the one who's in the background. It's like, oh my God, what are they going to do? I like that. I think it fits her really well. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.